Hello, fight fans, and welcome to the Combat Challenge podcast. My guest today is a lightweight athlete with over 18 professional bouts to his name and spends time passing on his knowledge to other fighters, Mr. Rob C4 Sinclair. Rob, thank you so much for joining us, my friend.
Hi.
I'm so pleased that you're on, brother, because you're a bit of a character, so I really wanted you on the podcast. The first question I'd like to ask you, Rob, is the fight name C4. If you can share with me and the viewers how that fight name came about.
So growing up early on in the MMA, I like Paul Semtex daily. I like the idea of the knockout and the explosive shots and the dynamite. And just thinking about it one day, I think it was before Nathan Beer fight, just before then, about 2000, 2009. And Ian Dean come up with it and he said, C4's in it. It's an explosive and you keep winning by sort of knockout or TKO. So we thought about it, Rob C4, and I thought that goes off, rolls right off the tongue. So it sort of stuck then because I won that by knockout as well.
Well, it does suit you, my friend, especially with the highlights that you had with your knockouts. The other thing I'd like to ask you is, and this is something I ask all the athletes, about your MMA journey. So if you can kind of talk myself and the viewers through from a young age, what got you into martial arts to where you are now?
Okay, so growing up, I always played football, a lot of football. Tried to have trials at football clubs, Wigan in specific, and that fell through about 17, 18. And I wasn't interested in any martial arts, I must admit, till about 25, I'd say. 21, I started messing in Thai boxing just to keep fit. 25, my brother started training with Michael Bisbin at the gym in Burnley because he lived in Clitheroe. Not name dropping, I'm just saying that's what we did. Anyway, we started training under him for a couple of years, had a few fights and all. And the reason I sort of did MMA was because my brother did it first and competitive, me and my brother, and I wanted to have a go. And it sort of stuck. And with the Thai boxing, it flowed natural for me. So we had about 2 or 3 fights with Michael Bisbin. Then he went on to win the show over there. So we had nowhere to train then. So one of my first opponents, Will Berg, he was training at I think it was SBG then. And that's when I first met Gav. And I got invited to go down to the gym at Predators, and pretty much rest is history, really. So
is that Gav Strachan?
No, that's Gavin Boardman.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I know who you mean, yeah.
Yeah, and it just stuck. We just clicked, and I was in awe of this guy. You know what I mean? I was like, this guy knows his stuff, and I wanted to learn and absorb. And every even to now, 12 years on, every training session is a new wow. You know what I mean? Not that I know that move. It just twists things, and we just clicked, and it worked.
I think it is really important, Rob, that you have to click in the gym that you're in. Otherwise, you can't build that relationship, because it's a relationship, right?
Definitely is, because the thing is as well, people in this fight game, they can have an ego of some sort and not want to listen. But we had a respect. He knew I trained hard and listened. And I suppose for any teacher, because I do a little bit of teaching myself, when you've got 2 people there and one's just there just to mess around, but you've got someone who's natural to drift towards that person. And that's what Gav did with me. I drifted towards that. And I was showing him new things in not in technique, but in like courage and heart and strength and endurability. Just stuff like that. And we just clicked. And I could work with him and he could work with me.
Okay, so you started quite late in your martial arts journey when it came to MMA, right?
Yeah. So I made my debut, I think I was 26. I've been training, messing in Thai boxing just to keep fit, the traditional stuff. And 25, I started taking a little bit more serious, and 26, I had the first fight. But I was pretty lucky, really. I didn't start getting an injury. I had no injuries previous, so my career went on a little bit longer. Obviously, I had my serious injury, but I had 7 years from 26 to 33 of no injuries, really. So even though I started late, do you get me? I was looking after myself.
Yeah, and your body didn't have those knocks like it would have done if you were like a teenager and you've done it for 2 decades.
A head trauma or anything, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Your last fight, Rob, was against Paul Redmond on BAMMA 30. Can you let us know a little bit about the preparation leading to that fight, and then talk us through the fight for us?
So the preparation, I trained hard for it, but my journey sort of got taken away from me prematurely earlier on with my injury and stuff. So when I made my comeback, it was in America on Bellator. And I didn't really get to showcase because it was 2 years after the injury. So I wanted another one pretty quick to prove. I retired that night in America. I think I've retired about 5 times. But then sleeping on it, coming back to Britain, I wanted another one. So I fought the guy at BAMMA, Redmond. I won that one. But then there was a bit of a void in my life. Do you get me there? Because I thought that's the end of it. So I came back for the wrong reasons, if you get me. More attention. So I came back and fought Charlie Leary, didn't fight well. Fought Redmond, didn't fight well. So even though my preparations were good in there, probably the wrong mental reason to be in there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because, the fight should have been, no disrespect to either of them, but pretty comfortable really. But just mentally, I was doing it for the wrong reason. I was doing it for attention and everyone sort of licking my ass a little bit. You know what I mean? I'd gone when I retired. So probably wrong reason. So preparation wise, physically, fine. Absolutely fine. But yeah, mentally, probably not all there. So, I warmed up I didn't have my brother with me. That was the first. I had another lad, and I twisted my knee a little bit, but I didn't want to say anything in there. I had 2 bandages on my knees. Anyway, when I was walking in, I didn't have that same aggression. I didn't have the same didn't want to be there. So the fight itself, it was pretty straightforward. I was on the back foot quite a bit because again, I didn't want to be there. I felt a lot stronger than him. But I tried to make a move and power out of it a little bit, and he caught me. It was a stupid mistake. So, but again, when I finished the fight, it wasn't gutted, crying, or winning. You know what I mean? And smiling. It was just a relief.
You touched on a couple of times about the injury. Can you share with us how that injury came and what was the healing process for you?
Yeah, so that was August 13, 2013. January 2013, 8 months previous. So I just fought Andre winner in the September, I think it were. I was preparing for Kurt Warburton and I snapped my Achilles. So instead of ignoring advice and watching some of these law of attraction videos and stuff like that, I thought I'm going to make a comeback quicker than anyone ever has. But I wasn't doing the correct techniques to get my ankles strong. And I took a fight on Bellator, the tournament, 6 months after the Achilles injury against Rich Clemente. And the leg just wasn't strong enough to take the impact of the guy. It was only about 6 weeks out from the fight as well. So like I said, I snapped my knee in the August, snapped my Achilles in the January. 2 big injuries there. So yeah, not a good year. But on the flip side, my son was born about 10 days before I did the injury. So good year and a bad year.
During your martial arts career, Rob, which coaches or mentors have played a significant part whilst you've been on that journey?
Yeah. So Gav Boardman's, the most significant out of everybody. And my brother, because we did everything together. Them two, mainly. But then I had a couple of people who helped me financially. Glenn Slater, he was great, and he come to every fight as well. I had my strength and conditioning coach, which was Dave Bell at the time, and my physio, Emma Fletcher. I wouldn't even have a career without these people, when times were hard, they pushed me through and stuff like that. So they're the main, and family, my mum and stuff like that.
We're in testing times now, Rob, with the pandemic and the lockdown and stuff. And how are you keeping yourself busy? Because the issue is that the mental health is a big thing and people are really struggling if they can't go training. So how are you trying to keep the demons at bay and keeping yourself busy during this testing time?
So it's proper difficult, and especially this particular lockdown because it's dark, it's wet, it's miserable, it's snowing. Well, you can't even go for a run sometimes. Only personally, I haven't done nowhere near as much as what I should have done. But what can you do? Home workouts, and you have to do them on your own. You're not allowed people in. So I really, really do, sympathise with people. Some people less strength-minded. Might have to edit that. Less strength-minded, could slip into some sort of depression and stuff. And it's all right, people saying, just think of positive things. You know what I mean? You can't think of, when you're in that state, you can't. And I suppose you need your friends who are a bit more strong-minded to spot that, and even, I don't know, even company, but maybe try and go out on your bike or go for a run with your friends, even go and play with basketball. I don't know, just try and get out of the house and try and do some form of exercise. For me, like I say, it's been a bit difficult, but I've been trying, running up and downstairs, running to the shop.
Every little helps, doesn't it, Rob? And it's good that you have, and like you said, it's important to have people around you who kind of have you on the radar, who see you on a daily basis or a weekly basis and know you, and they pick up changes. And it's then that they've got to kind of step up and say, hold on a minute, this isn't the person that I know what's going on. Otherwise, Joe Public that you see in the streets, how you doing? Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. Because we always have that standard answer, don't you? Oh yeah, living the dream, we're beautiful, no drama. But the demons, it's hard for people
It is hard. And you've got to be pretty lucky to have friends like that. I mean, unfortunately, I've got about two or three friends like that. So, but also, you've got to take a little bit of responsibility, I suppose, and reach out, I suppose, haven't you? This particular person who's looking after this might have about 3 or 4 people to keep his eye on, Maybe you have to, not man up, that's a Piers Morgan thing. I mean, own it a little bit and realize that there's something not right.
I think it also depends, because I was speaking to a guy called Luke Ambler, who I know quite well, and he runs the Andy's Man Club. And he told me that the example he gave me is it's like a storm. So some people are in the storm and it's just chaos. Some people have just been through it and it's behind them, and others it's coming. But it's knowing that it's not permanent and it's not forever lasting, and being able to kind of ride that wave and come out the other end, right?
Yeah, perfectly said, perfectly said. You know yourself when you're not feeling right. You know yourself, you're feeling down, you can't be bothered doing stuff and all that. And then people say, go exercise. And that's the last thing you want to do, exercise or think a positive thought, and you think you can't, but you do have to realize that something's just not right and reach out, I suppose. It's difficult, but if we all do a little bit, it may save one person.
Which fight has been the most rewarding for you? It doesn't have to be one that you've won or lost. What maybe you've overcome some adversity, but can you share with myself and the viewers a most rewarding fight that you can recall?
Yeah, the most rewarding fight was, for me anyway, it put me on a European levels against Daniel Weichel. So I've been on the UK scene, done pretty well there, won a couple of belts and stuff. And then I've talked to Aaron Chatfield. You know him, yeah. And he said, you need a stern test now, a European level, top 10, whatever, top 5. So BAMMA came back with this Daniel Weichel, and I knew he'd fought Paul Daly and Dan Hardy and stuff like that. So I thought, right. And but I beat him in like 2.5 minutes or something. Really put on a good performance, and that propelled other opportunities then, because I was expected to lose that fight. So that's probably that's where my career sort of set up. And also, because it's German, I was fighting in German. I come out to 3 lions on a shirt, right? So give me, like, people thought is a bit of a joker as well. Do you know what I mean? So my personality got shone as well.
Well, it's those sort of fights that you take the biggest risk, because people were betting against you, but the rewards are the sweeter, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're all on this MMA journey, on this conveyor belt, and you're fortunate to be at a good level. What advice would you give to those fighters who are up and coming through your knowledge and experience, if you'd like to share some with us?
Yeah, so I mean, a couple of things really. You need to listen to your coaches, and question your coach. Why are you doing this and stuff like that. You need to listen to your coach. If your coach tells you to rest and stuff like that, you rest. Don't have the ego is. When you're 20 and you fall off a wall, you just bounce back up. When you're 40 and fall off a wall, so you think you're invincible then. So you need to listen to your coach all the time. And if you don't agree with him, question him and have a conversation. And the second thing is you need to give your body a break and your mind a break. So sometimes I didn't have nowhere near enough rest. I overtrained quite a lot. Sometimes worked, sometimes didn't. But the physicality damage on your body is pretty. You need to look after it, because you only get one body. When you get to 40, 50, and you're limping around. So they're the two things. You need to listen to your coach. He's got your best intentions, and just try and look after your body. Wearing knee pads when you're wrestling or grappling, even at 20, because it's going to wear on you. Just things like that.
Just gives you more longevity in the sport, doesn't it?
Yeah, not just when you retire and stuff, and things like when you're 50 or 60, you got arthritis in your knees because you weren't listening.
Rob, listen, thank you so much for being on this podcast. I've really enjoyed it, and I look forward to having you on in the future, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.